Hi everyone, I'm here in Georgetown Library just doing some research, and I came across a book while doing research which I thought was interesting and I wanted to share with you. Um, but I have a library copy here, but maybe I'll show you the title page here. It's Reputation, What It Is and Why It Matters by Gloria Origi, who I hadn't actually heard of, but she appears to be a French social scientist, and she originally wrote this book in French, and then it got translated and published this year into English by Princeton and Oxford University Press. And this is actually a fascinating book that the subject of reputation obviously is an important part of our dialogue and discourse, and yet as an academic field of study, it appears to be relatively underappreciated. So this book by Origi is intended to fill that void. Now, and so she draws on a variety of disciplines from social science to talk about this subject. It's it's an academic work, but it's fascinating, and it's probably one that I'll come back to repeatedly. But I wanted to talk about one specific section of the book here, where she talks about gossip. And so this is what she introduces a section on gossip with this paragraph here. She says, this is on page 73 to 74, quote, "Gossip mongers ruin reputations. They are curious, ignorant, prattling people, often assumed to be female, who talk nonstop about what is everyone's favorite topic of conversation, other people. They adore scandals and they enjoy provoking them. They eagerly circulate false information about people just to smear their reputations." In his novel Beatrix, Balzac wrote that it is typical for women to, quote, "prefer the celebrity of a scandal to tranquil happiness. They fly in the face of society to obtain the fatal alms of a rebuke. They desire to be talked about at any cost." So I thought that was pretty funny. And then she goes on basically to talk about and analyze gossip from a variety of social science disciplines, linguistics, psychology, anthropology, etc. But there were a couple of points here that she made that I thought were interesting. So one question that she poses, why is gossip associated with women? And she argues that the association with women isn't entirely true. I mean, it's based sort of more on stereotype than empirical reality, because at least according to the studies she cites here, more than 60% of adult conversations concern people who are absent, regardless of the interlocutor's gender. But that said, then she goes on to think about why there might be this association. And one of the things that she points out is that men and women tend to manage their social relations and networks differently, and that men are much more likely to compare their performance with each other head on, and also to hide their weakness. Whereas women seem to be more adept generally at managing social relations, and gossip may be part of that function. So then, then after getting into this gender dichotomy, she then goes on to ask, gossip obviously has been condemned by many religions, by many social and ethical codes, and yet it persists. It's a feature of society, of every society, of the way people interact with each other. So, what is the function? Why does it exist? She goes through a number of different things, but I thought there were two theories here that I found to be interesting. The first is the way gossip can convey what she calls social authority. So she says here, mastery of gossip can be a sign of social distinction. It is typical of worldly socialites, of those who are at ease in navigating society. They are masters of small talk. They know how to spread indiscretions at will among those they want to influence discreetly. And so not only is gossip, obviously, what she's arguing here, not only it allows you to be a member of society and certain groups, but those who are most adept at navigating gossip, of spreading it, of managing it, of knowing where to draw boundaries, are those that ultimately rise to the top of these hierarchies. And then the second theory here that she talks about is an evolutionary psychology theory. And I know I know a lot of people that aren't persuaded by evolutionary psychology. I actually find it to be a fascinating line of study, and my own theory, for what it's worth, is that a big part of why evolutionary psychology is not more course is because so many people in our society, especially those who have a more egalitarian, maybe left-wing orientation, as well as those who come at politics and their ideas from a religious perspective, both have obviously concerns about evolutionary psychology becoming part of the mainstream. But anyway, Origi, to her credit, talks about evolutionary psychology and brings these theories to the fold. The evolutionary psychology theory of gossip, she quotes here, the practice of gossip in human societies replaced that of grooming in primate societies, those communal sessions of reciprocal cleansing by which primates map out social relations. Gossip delineates a map of social relations. And so she's basically arguing that what allows humans to evolve and function as a group and overcome challenges and ultimately survive, that language is a key ingredient of this, and that gossip is one element of this lingual advantage that humans have as a evolutionary advantage, and that gossip allows information to flow, for groups to be cohesive, and ultimately that it's whether or not it serves us today, of an evolutionary past that allowed us to survive in a hunter-gatherer tribe. Anyway, so I recommend checking out this book. It actually just came out earlier this year, the English translation anyway, in 2018. Here, I'll show you the cover page again. It is Reputation, Reputation, What It Is and Why It Matters, Gloria Origi, published by Princeton University Press.